to squeeze more joy out of everyday pleasures. This is printed in www.inc.com. Difficult in uncertain times, it's often impossible to make the larger world less crazy. But you can learn to squeeze more joy out of your everyday life. This is a lesson author Sasha Chapin learned young. My childhood was unpleasant, and as a coping mechanism, I tried to love hard in the passable pleasant moments, he wrote in his newsletter. This lesson applies equally well to adults living through periods of political and economic upheaval. You can't make those in charge behave better until you vote them out or stop artificial intelligence advancing, but you do control your immediate environment and your reaction to it. Why not leverage that to maximize the amount of happiness you can squeeze from everyday pleasures? Better words lead to more joy. As a writer, I'm a committed word nerd, so perhaps it's no shock that I particularly like Chapin's advice to think more carefully about the words you use to describe things you enjoy, like the great new song, your latest TV show obsession, or even your favorite barbecue sauce. If you don't have any vocabulary for a medium, then the film or song or dish simply appears as a blur of impressions, and it's hard to draw lines and isolate the particular areas and causes of enjoyment. Having a better vocabulary for a given medium doesn't just make you sound smart, it increases the resolution of your enthusiasm. That's why he suggests reading critics' reflections on the things you enjoy, and otherwise paying attention to how experts and others talk about the distinctions and fine moments of craft that make a song or a show or a sauce stand out. Neuroscience agrees with word nerds. Nerding out over specialized vocabulary made my English major heart sing, and why would a pragmatic business type take the time to expand and enrich the vocabulary they use to think about everyday pleasures? Perhaps because fascinating neuroscience suggests that words we use to think about our emotions actually impact our experiences of them. It can certainly feel like emotions happen to you, that they bubble up, and that they cause you to do or say things that maybe are ill-advised. But that explanation doesn't really capture how your brain is making emotions. Our emotions just aren't sensations that are produced in your mind and body in which you have no control over. Instead, the latest science shows that they're a mixture of physical feelings, like racing heart or a tingle of pleasure, and how you interpret those feelings. What your brain is doing is telling itself a story about what's going on inside your body in relation to what's happening in the world. And it's creating this story using knowledge about emotion that you have learned from your past to predict what you're going to see and hear and feel. And that's what an emotion is. Which means that if you use different, better words to tell the story of what you're feeling, you can feel it differently. This insight applies to a lot of different contexts, psychologists insist. Using more precise words to label unpleasant emotions, such as anger and sadness, can help you handle them better. A bigger emotional vocabulary can also help you think through tricky relationships or unfamiliar situations. Chapin reminds people that they can use the same idea to increase their enjoyment of everyday pleasures too, and the more and better words you have to describe them, the more joy you can squeeze out of them. Sadly, you can't stop the stock market from seesawing or halt the barrage of policy changes affecting your business. But that doesn't mean your mood is at the mercy of a chaotic, wider world. One way to squeeze more joy out of everyday pleasures is simply to look at them closely and to learn to talk about them in more detail. It's a dead simple move that makes the things you love instantly even more enjoyable.